Welcome everyone to a Hunter x Hunter video. Today I'm going to be covering my top 10 Nen abilities in the anime and manga series Hunter x Hunter. These are the 10 abilities that appeal and resonate with me the most. It's not a ranking of power or prowess, just what I find to be the most interesting. And as I've stated many times, the concept and workings of Nen, the power system used in the series, is what I think is one of the best in any fiction that I've ever read. Togashi has constructed a deeply integrated system with rules, limitations, and conditions that work in a way that you can rarely predict the outcome of any battle due to Nen being so specific to an individual. The ability created by someone in Hunter x Hunter has to coincide with their Nen type, something you are born with and can't change, but also is manifested to benefit them specifically, and usually takes years of training to fully master. So let's get started with my list. At number 10 is the ability called Godspeed, performed by Killua. Killua is a transmuter, being able to give his Nen the properties of something else. He chose electricity. And what I find to be most interesting about this ability is how it deals with the electrical energy that goes through our bodies naturally in the form of our nervous system. Killua basically uses Nen to override the nervous system as if it's too slow, and react instantaneously without any time for impulses to be sent by his brain and back to react. He can use this to drastically increase his time to defend or attack. While using this ability against the Chimera Ant Royal Guard Youpi, he was able to react and move so fast that even Youpi couldn't see or keep up with him. He can also apply this ability to his movements and make himself run at incredible speeds, basically cutting out the time it would take for your brain to tell your legs to move. Killua's body just moves. The idea of instantaneous reaction time due to one's own energy in the form of electricity was just a really cool concept to me, and really took the extra step as Killua's ability seems very basic on the surface, electrical powers. You know, they're nothing new in fictional stories, but Godspeed to me pushes that to the next unique level. At number 9 I have Deep Purple, performed by Moral. Moral is a manipulator, but has trained enough to also use aspects of transmutation and emitting. Through a combination of those, he is able to transmute his Nen into the properties of smoke, and then manipulate that smoke to do just about anything that he wishes. My favorite thing about this ability, and Moral as a character, is how versatile it is, and how he is normally able to stay so calm as if he's seen it all. He is one of only 2 hunters that Netero decided to take along with him against the Chimera Ants, and he's the one that didn't freak out and lose all of his hair. Just saying. One major smoke creation he does is the Smoke Troopers, which is basically, just as it sounds, where he turns the smoke into the shapes of people and can manipulate them and control them to attack his opponents. He can even make the smoke resemble someone else, like when he used it to look like Knuckle to aid him in a fight. Moral is definitely someone you want on your side, and Deep Purple only serves to prove that's why he's one of the top Nen users in the entire world. At number 8, I'm putting Blinky! Who doesn't love a hot goth girl holding a vacuum? This is a conjuring ability performed by the Phantom Troop member Shizuku, one of my favorite members of the troop. As being a conjurer, Shizuku creates an object from her Nen that can perform a certain task. Blinky is its name, and it resembles that of a vacuum, and it can suck up anything that's not living. Extremely useful for covering your tracks, and the Phantom Troop use her for sucking up dead bodies and the destruction that they've caused in their wake, to seemingly leave no trace. Where the objects go once they're sucked up by Blinky, not even Shizuku knows, but she can have Blinky regurgitate whatever was the last item back out of its mouth. What I love so much about this ability is its convenience factor, but also how brutal it can be in ways that you wouldn't think of. For example, if you have an open wound, she can use Blinky to suck out all of the blood from your body, killing you. Shizuku is a badass, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. At number 7, I'm putting Dragon Dive. This is performed by Zeno, who is in the same family as Killua, and both are transmuters by nature. Zeno is incredibly old and powerful, and is very straightforward in all of his actions. I believe his ability reflects that, as he transmutes his Nen into the properties of that of a dragon. And Dragon Dive combines this with an emission technique. First, Zeno creates the Dragon Head, which is the transmuter ability that he has, basically channeling his aura into that of a fully functioning dragon that he can use to attack or for transport. And Dragon Dive basically takes this ability, has the dragon fly high into the air, and Zeno shatters it into hundreds of pieces that rain down from the sky like Nen bullets and have extremely destructive power. I won't lie, this is primarily on the list due to how badass it was used in the anime. The fact that we didn't see Netero for some time and he comes back with Zeno by his side, and the two of them crash the palace of the Chimera Ants coming down to do some work as the two wise and experienced resident anime old men. I just love it. At number 6, I'm putting Bungie Gum, created by my favorite character in Hunter x Hunter, Hisoka. This is also a transmuter ability, and Hisoka giving his Nen the properties of what, everybody? That's right, rubber and gum. It doesn't sound too incredible until you see it in action, and how incredibly versatile this ability is. So the rubber aspect comes with its elasticity being able to be used like a bungee cable, springing Hisoka from one area to another, or attaching it to someone else and pulling them towards him for close quarters combat. It can deflect projectiles back towards someone, and as shown in his fight with Chrollo in the manga, it can attach to heavy solid objects like, a severed human head, and Hisoka is able to swing it around like nothing. The gum aspect obviously refers to its adhesive ability and attaching it to another person and having it stick to them, or catching objects, and Hisoka can project the bungee gum from just about any area of his body. Now, in Hunter x Hunter, it is alluded to that Nen can get more powerful after death, and in the Currents in Section War arc, when Hisoka is about to die, he commands the bungee gum to wrap around his heart and use its elasticity to pump his heart if it stops and bring him back from death. And this actually works, of which the consequences have yet to be shown, but Hisoka as a character has changed quite a bit since then, and it's my own personal theory that this may have been a contributing factor. At number 5 is the ability called Skill Hunter, performed by the leader of the Phantom Troop, Chrollo. Chrollo is a specialist when it comes to his Nen type, which is the rarest and most potentially dangerous type of Nen you can be classified as. It basically is a classification that classifies things that can't be classified, if that makes any sense. With Skill Hunter, Chrollo is able to steal the Nen abilities from another Nen user as long as he completes certain conditions. 1, he has to witness the Nen ability firsthand. 2, he has to ask the user about their Nen ability. And 3, that user needs to touch the handprint on the book that he conjures. And number 4, all 3 of those conditions must be met within 1 hour. If this happens, the Nen user's ability will be transferred into the book that Chrollo conjures, and once in the book, the Nen user loses their ability completely, and Chrollo is able to use it as long as the book is open to that specific page. This ability is great because obviously it gives Chrollo a plethora of abilities that he can use, and as an antagonist that keeps things very interesting. But also I like the conditions and restrictions because it makes Chrollo have to be creative and proactive to gather a new ability. He is also limited in that ability as it works as the original person intended. So even if Chrollo feels differently about a subject, such as using the ability Order Stamp, he wanted to use it on a dead body to control them, but the originator of that ability made it a condition that it couldn't be used that way. As well, later on in the manga, during his fight with Hisoka, Chrollo has developed the bookmark so he can mark a page while having it open to another one, effectively giving him access to 2 abilities at once, making him even more destructive. Coming in at number 4, the ability doesn't really have a name as far as I can tell, but it's Uvojin's enhancement ability. Uvojin is another member of the Phantom Troop and famously battled Kurapika in the York New City arc. Uvojin's Nen type is that of an enhancer, and being the strong and powerful man that he is, naturally he uses the enhancement category to enhance his body. This increases his strength and brawn, but even strengthens his skin to the point where it's all but impenetrable. I love this ability because of its simplicity, but also because Uvojin himself makes it seem so fun. The scene where Uvojin plays with and beats down the bodyguards and the shadow beasts, he can also focus his aura into a powerfully destructive punch that creates a crater in its wake. It may be simple, but man, it's great to watch and it can give you some positive gym motivation at the very least. At number 3, I'm putting Emperor Time, used by Kurapika. Coincidentally enough, this is the same ability that helped Kurapika defeat Uvojin. With Kurapika, Nen gets very intricate and complicated. Kurapika is a conjurer naturally, and conjures chains for one of each of his fingers that can do different things. But being of the Kurta clan, he has a unique non-Nen related ability. When he becomes enraged or excited, his eyes turn scarlet colored and he gets a boost of strength and stamina. It's basically like a shot of adrenaline through his body. Well, when this kicks in, his Nen type actually changes from a conjurer to a specialist. His ability for this one is called Emperor Time, which temporarily allows him to access every Nen category with the maximum amount of efficiency that he could do as a conjurer. Being able to use any Nen type, he can then use several other abilities he wouldn't be able to just as a conjurer, such as the Holy Chain, which enhances his healing, and the Judgment Chain that can enter a victim and wrap around their heart. Kurapika then gives them a condition, and if they break it, the chain kills them. But to stop this ability from being too OP, there are deterring factors. One is obviously Kurapika's eyes have to be scarlet, but two is that because this ability is so powerful, it drains him of his own life energy. And how it breaks down is Kurapika loses 1 hour of his life for every 1 second that Emperor Time is activated. Because of which, this is something Kurapika can't do all the time, and also ups the suspense whenever he does have it activated. Like in the current Succession War arc, Kurapika passed out while still in activation of Emperor Time, and woke up 9 hours later. You do the math on that, but Kurapika is going to die a much younger man than he previously expected. Coming in at number 2, the 100 type Gunyen Bonsatfa. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but it's performed by Netero. Netero is the head chairman of the Hunter Association and is my third favorite character in the entire series. He's said to be an enhancer by nature, but being at the level of skill he is with his long history, he has become a master, and I believe Bodhisattva is actually considered a conjuring or manipulation ability, more so than enhancement. I'm not really too sure, but what I am sure of is how insanely powerful this ability is. Which makes sense as Netero is one of the most powerful characters in all of Hunter x Hunter, and fought the Ant King one-on-one. Also, considering it stated that Netero is way past his prime at the time, this is incredibly impressive. The Bodhisattva takes the form of like a giant Buddha-inspired statue appearing behind Netero. Netero clasps his hands together in praise, then he motions with his own hand what the statue will mimic and attacks with extreme power. The biggest plus of this ability is the speed in which it happens. Netero practiced and focused his punching for years and enhanced it with Nen. So through years of practice and dedication, he is able to attack with such force and speed that it is absolutely devastating to any opponent. Even Meruem, the Ant King, who may not be hurt badly by the attacks themselves, found it to be a 1 in 1,000 chance to avoid the attack and get in a strike of his own. And coming in at number 1, and you may be surprised by this, but I love this ability. It is none other than APR, performed by Knuckle. Knuckle is an emitter, and APR is an ability that basically uses math as its enemy. And maybe a part of me likes this because math was my enemy in school, I don't know. But if Knuckle lands a hit on you, he can emit his Nen in the form of a happy little thing called APR, standing for Amortizing Power Redirector. This thing is absolutely indestructible, but it doesn't attack you. So Knuckle judges aura in a numerical way. It's kind of like the Scouters from Dragon Ball Z, giving a numerical value to someone's power. So Knuckle will give a certain number of his own aura to another person when APR attaches. So say he gives you 100 aura. To get rid of APR, you need to give that 100 back. And say your punches emit 10 aura with each hit. So that would mean you'd need to hit Knuckle 10 times to return the 100 aura and get rid of APR. The trick is that APR constantly adds interest every 10 seconds. So for every 10 seconds you don't hit him back, the counter gets higher and higher. It's basically debt. And I just find this ability to be so creative and silly, but also devastating if you think about it. It's just like real life. When debt starts piling up, it gets harder and harder for you to pay back. And the kicker is, if APR's counter with interest gets greater than the amount of aura you have in your body to give back, then you go bankrupt. When this happens, APR transforms into IRS, which puts you into a state of Zetsu, or unable to use Nen, for 30 days. This is crazy, and it even happens to Gon in the series. Now, the conditions of this ability help subdue it a bit. One is Knuckle has to actually physically touch you with his fist connecting a hit. Also, he needs to stay within 50 meters of you, or else APR will disappear and stop adding interest. And obviously, the more powerful the opponent, the longer it will take for them to go bankrupt. So Knuckle would need to stick around close by and wait out the timer. I just love this ability because it's incredibly creative. It involves a boring adult concept of debt and paying bills into a fighting shonen style. And it's a little hard to understand at first, but once you get it, this ability becomes a lot of fun to watch. Also, who doesn't love little APR floating around? He's just so cute. Anyways, there you have it, guys. Those are my top 10 Nen abilities, my personal favorites anyways. So tell me what you think in the comments below and share your top 10 or top 5 Nen abilities. Not the most powerful or anything, just the ones that you like the most. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you want to, and I'll talk to you guys next time.